All right, how's it going, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about the future of One Piece and what's going to happen next. But more importantly, we're going to talk a bit about the Elbaf arc and the possibility of what might come in the series next. I wanted to point out a very important thing, right? So obviously we know Elbaf is based on, Nordic mythology and the Norse gods, with the big bad looking to be Loki. Prince Loki, to be more precise, the one that basically got heartbroken by Lola. There's a lot to dive into there, but today what I want to talk about is what Thor might look like, or even if Thor will show up in One Piece, or some version of Thor, or how Oda's going to go about it. Because I don't think Oda's going to miss the chance to put the God of Thunder in his manga, especially because of the recent uptake in love for the Norse gods. I think he is going to show Thor in his manga, but how he goes about it is a very key way that I wanted to talk about today. It's mainly speculation, but I have a few interesting ideas, and there's one pretty obvious one which I'm going to get out of the way immediately. But before we get going, if you like this type of content, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more. And with that being said, let's get started. So obviously the obvious takeaway would be that the quote unquote Thor of the One Piece universe is going to be Enel, right? Like some sort of, he comes back with like a hammer and it's like the Mjolnir or some shit, or like the axe or whatever. I don't know what the axe is called that Thor has in mythology or whatever, but he's probably gonna come back with something like that. And we're gonna have like Enel and Loki have a bit of a rivalry or a bit of a tussle, maybe, to kind of throw back to what Elbaf may be and how to throw back to the Norse mythology, or have them have some sort of bitterness towards each other somehow. Maybe they get off on the wrong foot, and then for the rest of the series, they have a real like brotherly kind of mischief versus brute type thing going on. I don't know, but Enel is probably the most likely option because he just comes back from the moon. But the issue with that is that at current we don't actually know why, like what his reason would be, and obviously we could get a flashback on what his reasons might be. But most people theorize that Fujitora is going to bring down the moon at some point during the final war, and that's how he's going to show back up, which I honestly think may be true. That's personally what I believe. So it could be possible that he doesn't show up and he's not the quote unquote Thor of One Piece. It's not as fun that way. There's not a lot of speculation to do there. So we're gonna go off the limb and assume Enel isn't the Thor of One Piece for a bit. Let's talk about how he might be designed. I do think he's going to be more like the God of War Thor, where he's gonna have red hair instead of blonde hair. That's my bias showing through. Rep the red hairs, Rep the red hairs. Oh, yo. But it would also make sense because the prevailing thought that I have is that the red hairs own Elbaf or protect Elbaf. So it'd be kind of a nod to them. Even if we had a little gag where Thor, as a warrior, respected Shanks, so he dyed his hair red or some shit. I think that'd be a gag that Oda would play with. And like Luffy at some point gets water on Thor during a fight or during like a meal if they're friends, and like it goes blonde and he's like real embarrassed. He's like, "A wound to my warrior's pride. How could you?" or something like that. Now the big question here is, if there is a Thor, I'm assuming he's going to be more of a Moria type design in terms of big, massive, giant type design, but a big, fat, big like weighty. He in that sense in the Moria style of ways to draw his designs, or like the mermaid from Water 7. I feel like that's how he's going to be designed. He's not going to be like this chiseled Chris Hemsworth type character, or pre-Endgame Chris Hemsworth type character. I feel like Oda's going to go for the funny design with Thor, especially because he's such a well-known character with many different interpretations. Oda might take the funny side with it. I feel like it'd be cool if he turns out to be an ally to the Straw Hats, because there could be a lot of funny gags that way, but it would also, I don't know, make a lot more sense to have him as a villain. Maybe him start out as like a villain with Loki and then kind of eventually become an ally. But then if we respected Shanks, he wouldn't be a villain, right? So it's like, it's hard to say. A lot of people think Big Mom might be the villain of Elbaf. So let's say that does happen, right? Theoretically speaking. And Thor is an ally, is like, hell, he could even be a member of Shanks's crew. He could have respected him so much, he could have lost in a battle against Shanks. He might have been like, this Elbaf doesn't need your protection. I am the mighty Thor. I can protect Elbaf myself, right? And Shanks may have been like, well, if you can fight me, and then he like conquers hockey punch. He doesn't even bother picking out his sword. Like, he just one arm. No, you know what? Like, he one arm. He flicks like a blade of grass to Thor's head, and he's just gone. That'd be hilarious. I'm not even gonna lie. I feel like there could be a lot of fun had with like interactions between, like flashback interactions between Thor and Shanks, because the whole thing is that Thor is the more muscly warrior type dude, where Loki's very mischievous. And maybe Loki has hated how Shanks has run things and done things and hates the warrior way of thinking because he's a more mischievous type of person. He's not very strong, and he gets it by using his mischief. That could lead into a lot of other stuff, which we'll talk about at some point, involving Usopp, which I do actually want to talk about at some point. But that's another topic for another day. I feel like the interactions between Thor and Shanks could be very interesting. But there are other ways he could go with Thor. We could have him, like, if he was a villain, how would you justify it? Like, what would be the... Do they misunderstand? Like, I don't want a misunderstanding plot where they think the Straw Hats are here to attack them, and then Hyrule has to come in and be like, no, they're my friends. You know, that type of shit. I don't really want that, to be perfectly honest. I want a more kind of straightforward arc. Plus, they don't really have time to mess around that much, so it's either going to be after or before Marijois. It makes more sense if it's like a pit stop after. I don't know, maybe... See, it's hard to say. Because part of me... Okay. But it could take place... I think Elbaf is going to take place after Marijois, personally. I don't know how. I mean, I said that they're going to meet Shanks at Marijois and all that. But if that doesn't happen, I don't have an idea. Because Shanks could invite him back to Elbaf and be like, it's time for your tests to see if you're a great pirate or some shit. I don't know, I could definitely see that going ahead. But my main thought on Thor is that I'm really excited to see how he reacts to Luffy, because I feel like, just like Horadin, he's going to have a very kind of, you know, happy demeanor about Luffy and be very upbeat about Luffy. Let's say if he's very close to Shanks because of what I said previously. But the idea here I want to speak on is, how is he going to have lightning powers? What is the idea that they're going to run with? I actually have a very cool idea, right? What if he is like a mink giant hybrid, right? And that's how they justify him having like control over electricity or something. Because he's giant, the electro is more powerful or some shit. I think that would be really, really cool, to be honest. Because we don't see many like hybrid species too much. Besides one of Don Quixote Doflamingo's like officers who's like human and fisherman. I think it'd be really cool to see like a giant warrior like Thor be like a mink hybrid. To me, that would be very interesting. Especially, I wonder what type of mink he would be as well. Thor, God of Thunder, you would see him being like a bird, because I don't know, Thunderbirds or some shit, but I don't think that's really an option. What's a warrior being? Oh, I don't know why I thought of Kung Fu Panda when I was thinking about that. So let's go with Thor, the Kung Fu Panda, or the fucking Lightning Panda. Oh, that would be cool shit. And have Beppo do like a height contest or like a cuteness contest, and Beppo's like, oh, me, Captain, it's me. Yo, have Beppo make some more, and maybe it's a possibility that throughout the arc, like Thor and Usopp, like that's how Usopp proves to himself he is a brave warrior of the sea. He gets the recognition from Elbaf's greatest warrior, Thor. I think that'd be really cool. I don't know. It's a very interesting idea. I think so anyway, myself. I think it's a very interesting idea to see how they could pull off Thor. And we could even have a way where Luffy doesn't have to fight. Let's say Big Mom does, you know, get busy with, or let's say Big Mom does show up again. and Luffy has to fight Big Mom or something, and we get Loki and Thor fighting. Let's say they finally get to fight, and then Thor and Usopp fight him or something. I think that'd be really cool. There's a lot of things that Oda could do with Thor, and then have him show up for the final war. Because by the end of it, I feel like if there is a Thor character, Thor is going to be like the ruler of Elbaf in some way. So then that's how we can have Elbaf finally decide, we're going to ally with Luffy, or more so Usopp. I feel like Usopp is going to gain the respect of Thor in a way. I think it's a very interesting idea, that I want to delve more into. I realized I only talked about one idea of Thor, and kind of just got sidetracked and talked about the possibilities that could happen in Elbaf. But it is a really interesting topic, because you really do want to see how, Oda tackles the idea of such a popular Norse god in One Piece. There could be so many interesting topics. He could be like, I think the mink thing is a like home run idea. I think that's the coolest shit. I would love that if it's like a mink giant hybrid. And like have him be like the tallest giant, like fucking 200 feet or like 300 feet. That would be so cool. Imagine that. Big tall ass giant. Like that, and do like that major scream. I wish I had my stick in here. I could have swung that around like a fucking hammer, but not today. But shit, that would be the coolest shit. I'm not even gonna lie. It would be so cool. So cool. With that being said, make sure you like and subscribe for more content like this and more of me just making a fucking fool of myself. If you want to see some of that, if you want to see a ginger kid make fool of himself, this is the best channel for that. And I'll see you all next time. Enjoy your day. Have a happy new year. I realized I didn't say any of that in my previous video, so I'm saying it now. And cheers, everybody.